My shoulder had been aching for years, an old football injury I'd ignored too long. Finally, the doc told me it was time. Rotator cuff surgery, late March. 2 weeks minimum recovery. No lifting, no driving, no damn showers alone. I cleared my calendar, prepped the shop, and lined everything up months ahead. I even sat down with Mel back in January, laid it all out. It's not optional this time, I told her. I'll need help, especially that first week. She nodded, barely looked up from her phone. Now, here we are, exactly 1 week out, and I hear her in the kitchen on speakerphone, laughing. Real loud, real carefree. Girl, I am counting down the days. Sand, sun, and rum punch, baby. No phones, no husbands. Then her friend says something I can't quite catch, and Mel fires back. He's got shoulder surgery or something, but whatever, he'll survive. I walked in slow, leaned against the doorframe. What cruise? I asked. She looked up mid-text, totally unbothered. The one I've been talking about for months. Caribbean. Me and the girls from work. For how long? 8 days. Why? I just stared at her. My surgery is in 7 days. She raised one eyebrow, like I was the one being unreasonable. You really thought I'd cancel a once-in-a-lifetime trip because of your shoulder? Before we go further, quick note. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at her. Her sandals kicked off, her travel-sized shampoo bottles laid out on the table, a half-packed beach bag by the door. Mel, I asked you about this. You said you'd help me after surgery. And I will, after I get back. You'll be fine for a few days. Ask your sister or something. I nodded slowly, clenched my jaw. Right. She grabbed her iced coffee and walked past me. Don't be dramatic, Gary. I wasn't being dramatic. I was seeing things for what they were. 15 years married, and this woman couldn't postpone a beach trip to make sure I didn't bust my stitches trying to wipe my own ass. That night I sat on the back porch by myself, stared at the dark yard, and thought about every time I'd picked her up from work, changed my schedule for her family events, drove her to the ER when she had that ovarian cyst, covered her car payment when she lost her job in 2020. And this was what I got in return. She thought I'd survive. Fine. I would. But not the way she expected. I didn't say another word about it the rest of that night. Mel poured herself a glass of wine, turned on some reality show, and acted like nothing had happened. She didn't ask if I was okay, didn't even mention the surgery again. The next morning, she was already browsing swimsuits on her tablet before her coffee finished brewing. I stood at the kitchen sink, rinsing out my mug, and watched her scroll through bikinis like she was 17 again. You're really going? I said. Not a question, just a fact. She didn't even look up. Flights are non-refundable, Gary. What do you want me to do? That was it. I didn't argue, didn't raise my voice. Just walked out to the garage, grabbed my phone, and called the surgeon's office. Hey, this is Gary Jensen. I need to push my surgery back a month. The receptionist sounded surprised. Everything okay? Yeah, just need to make some arrangements first. We rescheduled it for late April. After that, I sat in my truck and stared out the windshield for a minute. Engine off, phone still in my hand. Then I called my cousin Todd. He answered on the second ring. Hey man, what's up? You still handling family law stuff? I asked. Divorces? Yeah, I am. Why? I need to know what I'd be walking into. Todd didn't press for details. Just told me to stop by his office that week, bring anything I had, bank statements, tax stuff, property titles, all of it. After I hung up, I called Daryl, my accountant. Straight shooter. He was the one who helped me set up the shop 10 years ago. Thinking about splitting? He asked. Thinking about preparing. Smart. Let's get ahead of it. You got your own account yet? Not yet. You will. Come in Friday. That night, I pulled out the big file box from the hall closet. W-2s, insurance policies, investment statements, mortgage papers. All of it. I sat at the dining room table while Mel FaceTimed her friend in the living room, holding up swimsuits and giggling like a teenager. No, this one's too much boob, right? Or not enough. I can't decide. I opened a spreadsheet on my laptop and started building a list. Assets in my name. Assets in both our names. Assets she might lie about. I added a column. Possible disputes. There were a lot. The house was mine before we married, but she'd put money into decorating and small upgrades. She'd probably come for it. The shop was protected through the LLC, but she'd still try. I had a couple old vehicles in the garage she always called junk, but I knew she'd want a cut of whatever I sold later. The next few days, I kept my head down and played it cool. I got up early, went to work, came home, acted normal. Mel didn't notice a thing. She was too busy texting her group chat about beach clubs in Aruba and whether they should all get matching cover-ups. I caught her ordering monogram tumblers that said Cruise Crew 2025. Meanwhile, I was on the phone with Daryl going over the Roth IRA she'd opened last year. She's contributing from her separate checking, I told him. Can she claim I owe her for that? Not if you never touched it, he said. I started backing up files to a hard drive, printed copies of everything, even logged into our shared Amazon account and made a note of what she was spending in the lead up to the trip. Mel kept floating through the house like nothing was happening. She talked about spray tans, travel pillows, and just a little Botox before she left. I kept my mouth shut, smiled when she showed me her new sandals. But every night, after she went to bed, I stayed up at the kitchen table. My spreadsheet got longer. My folder got thicker. I wasn't angry anymore. I was focused. Let her take her cruise. When she got back, the tide would be going out, and she wouldn't even see it coming. The morning she left, Mel was all sunshine and perfume. She came downstairs dragging her pink suitcase, wearing flip-flops and oversized sunglasses even though it was barely 50 degrees out. All right, she said, flipping her hair over one shoulder. Don't burn the house down while I'm gone. I stood by the front door, hands in my hoodie pocket. Have a good trip. She kissed the air somewhere near my cheek and rolled her suitcase out like she was off to win a damn prize. As soon as her Uber turned the corner, I closed the door and locked it. Then I went straight upstairs and started clearing out the guest room. I stripped the bed, boxed up her extra clothes, dumped the throw pillows into a trash bag. I wasn't sleeping in the same bed with her anymore. That room became mine in under an hour, clean, quiet, neutral. I didn't touch the master bedroom. Let her come home to it exactly the way she left it. That afternoon, I met Todd at his office. He had a thick folder already started. You're moving fast, he said. Not wasting any more time, I told him. We went over the basics, marital property, retirement accounts, potential alimony. Todd laid it all out straight. You're in a better position than most, but it'll still be a fight. Let her swing, I said. I'm not folding. Next stop was Daryl's office. He had a list of everything she might claim and everything she'd have no shot at touching. Your best move is to open a clean account in your name only, he said. Do it now. That's where the settlement funds go when this is over. I drove straight to my bank and opened it that day. New account, new passwords, new paper trail. By the time I pulled into my driveway, the house already felt different. Quieter, lighter, but I wasn't staying long. That night, I grabbed my keys and headed to the one place I hadn't been in over a year, Granddad's old hunting cabin out in Carroll County. It was a 45-minute drive, 2 back roads, and a gravel turnoff. The place was half-rotted, porch sinking, windows clouded over. But it was mine. I walked around the outside with a flashlight, kicking away dead leaves and busted beer cans from God knows when. The bones were still good. I knew it just by the way the front door stuck in the same place it always had. I called Ray, a contractor buddy I'd worked with on the shop remodel. You still do private jobs? I asked. For you? Hell yeah. What are we building? I told him I wanted to gut the place. New insulation, new roof, extend the back, add a porch, maybe a workshop off the side. You finally gonna live out there full time? Not yet, I said, but I'm done living like I used to. Ray said he'd swing by the next morning to walk it with me. That night, I sat on the old porch steps with a thermos of coffee, staring into the trees. It was quiet in a way the house hadn't been in years. Sad. Yeah, a little. But I felt steady, like I'd finally picked a direction and started walking. I was sitting in the guest room, scrolling through work emails on my laptop when I heard her key in the door. Gary, she called out. I'm back. You wouldn't believe the customs line. My God. People are animals when they travel. She clomped in, dragging her suitcase across the floor like she hadn't just bailed on me for a week in paradise. I didn't answer right away, just waited until I heard her kick her flip-flops off and start toward the kitchen. Babe, do we have any iced tea? I am parched. They served the grossest plain coffee ever, and I swear the AC wasn't even on. Mel, I said from the hallway. She turned. Her nose and chest were bright red, the kind of burn that would peel in 2 days. She had a braid in her hair, and her nails painted neon pink. Looked more like a teenager than a grown woman who'd left her husband high and dry. "Oh hey," she said, dropping her bag. "How's the shoulder? Did you call your sister?" I looked her dead in the eye. "Sit down." "What?" She laughed like I was being cute. "Can I get a drink first?" "Mel, sit down." That time she heard it. She blinked, then walked over to the dining room and slid into a chair. I walked in with the folder, the one Todd helped me put together. Thick stack, rubber band around the middle. Set it right in front of her. "What's this?" "Divorce paperwork. Property split. Bank transfers. It's all there." She didn't touch it. Just stared at me like I'd thrown a grenade on the table. "You're not serious." "I'm done, Mel." She finally opened the folder and started flipping through the pages. When she saw the account balances and titles, her whole expression changed. "You moved money?" she snapped. "You opened separate accounts?" "Yeah, weeks ago." "You blindsided me, Gary. This is insane." I crossed my arms. "No. What's insane is leaving your husband the week of surgery to party on a boat with strangers." "That trip was planned months ago," she shouted. "You said it was fine." "No. I told you when the surgery was. You made your choice." She pushed back from the table, grabbed her tumbler off the counter, and threw it. Sweet tea splashed across the cabinets. "You don't get to do this to me," she yelled. "You don't get to decide everything behind my back and act like I'm the problem." "This isn't about one trip," I said, loud but steady. "This is about years of you making everything about you. I've been bending over backward while you check out." "That's not true." "It is," I said. "Every plan, every holiday, every time something was inconvenient, I adjusted. You didn't. You haven't in years. I asked for help this one damn time, and you laughed about it on the phone like I was a burden." Her lip curled. "So what, you're just done? Just like that?" "Yeah, I am." "You think you're gonna come out of this clean? I'll take you for everything. You don't get to screw me over and walk away smiling." I stepped aside as she stormed out of the dining room and into the hall. "Go ahead," I said behind her. "Take your best shot. I'm not scared of you anymore." She stopped halfway to the stairs and turned back. "You think people are going to take your side? You think they'll believe you? You're nothing special, Gary. Just another grumpy mechanic who couldn't keep his wife happy." I just stood there, didn't flinch. She looked me up and down, shaking her head. "Pathetic," she muttered. "You'll be begging to fix this once reality hits." Then she grabbed her suitcase, yanked it back through the front door, and slammed it behind her. The whole house went still. I stood in that silence for a long time before I walked over, locked the door, and pulled the tea-soaked rag off the counter. She wanted to play hardball. Fine, but I wasn't playing anymore. The day after she slammed the door, I called Todd and told him she was gone. He filed the paperwork that same afternoon. 2 days later, she lawyered up. Her attorney's name was Barbara something. Aggressive, sharp-tongued, billed by the minute. Within a week, I got hit with an emergency support demand. She claimed I'd abandoned her emotionally and financially, like I'd just vanished in the middle of the night. Todd called me while I was under a lifted F-150, socket wrench in hand. "She says you left her without money, no vehicle, no support," he said. "She left in a rideshare with a full suitcase and a monogrammed beach hat." I said, "You want me to send the doorbell footage?" He chuckled dryly. "Wouldn't hurt." From there, it got ugly. She started blowing off meetings, canceling settlement talks last minute, dragging out the discovery process with bogus claims that she didn't have access to joint records. Daryl had to resend the same financial summaries 3 times because her lawyer kept misplacing them. Meanwhile, I started hearing things. The guys from the shop mentioned her name popping up around town. She told her hairdresser I was emotionally abusive, told her Pilates instructor I was controlling and manipulative. She spun it like I ran her into the ground, isolated her, drained her happiness. I didn't respond. Not once. When people asked, I just said, "We're going through some things." But it didn't stop. My buddy Nate, who owns the diner, pulled me aside one morning while I was waiting on a breakfast sandwich. "She said you punched a wall once during a fight," he said. "Never happened." "She also said you used to read her emails behind her back." I shook my head. "She's rewriting history. Let her." Then came the furniture stunt. One Thursday afternoon, I came home early from the shop to grab a part I'd left in the garage. As I pulled into the driveway, I saw her hatchback backed up to the porch. The front door was wide open. Inside, She and some skinny guy in cargo shorts were halfway through dragging the living room love seat out the door. I stood there for a second, watching. She looked up, eyes wide for half a second, then rolled them like I was a nuisance. "Oh, you're home. You're violating the court orders," I said flatly, pulling out my phone. She scoffed. "This is my furniture." I started taking pictures. Her, the guy, the open trunk, the couch halfway out the doorway. "Gary, stop. That's harassment." "No, it's documentation." "You think you're so smart," she snapped. "Always one step ahead, right? Planning your little paper trail while I'm out here trying to survive?" I didn't say anything, just kept snapping pictures, slow and steady. The guy with her mumbled something like, "Maybe we should go." She turned on him. "No, we're taking it. He's bluffing. He's always bluffing." Then back at me. "You manipulated everything. You knew exactly when to hit. I was finally happy, and you destroyed it." Still, I said nothing. That set her off even more. "You never loved me. You just wanted someone to fill a space next to you. You didn't care what I needed." I slid my phone back into my pocket. "Put the couch back, or I'll have the sheriff meet you here next time." She stared at me, breathing heavy, hands shaking. Then she hissed, "Rot in that guest room, you bitter old bastard." I walked past her, into the kitchen, grabbed the part one came for, and left without another word. Behind me, I heard the guy mutter, "Jesus," and the couch thump back onto the floor. Let her rage. I wasn't playing defense anymore. 2 days after the furniture stunt, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Columbus area code. I almost didn't answer, figured it was spam. But something told me to pick up. "Hello. Gary? It's Carrie. I work with Mel. Well, used to. I don't know if you remember me from the Christmas party last year." I did. She was the quiet one. Brown ponytail, smart eyes, barely said a word the whole night. "What's going on?" I asked. She hesitated. I could hear a radio playing low in the background. "I probably shouldn't be calling, but I just wanted you to know that cruise Mel went on. It wasn't just a vacation with the girls." My chest went tight. "What do you mean?" "She went with someone. Dylan Pratt. He's a VP at corporate. Been sniffing around her for a while." I sat down on the armrest of the couch, staring at the empty wall where the photo shelf used to be. "Keep going," I said. "They booked adjoining cabins. They were together the whole time, spa, dinners, even that island excursion day. People noticed. A few of us saw pictures in the group chat that didn't exactly look innocent." I ran my hand down my face. "Why are you telling me this?" Carrie lowered her voice. "Because I was in the room when she started talking about using the trip to Angle for a new job. Dylan promised her something higher up if she played it right. It wasn't just about fun. She was planning her way out." There it was. While I was rescheduling surgery and scanning tax records, she was out shopping herself to some guy with a corporate badge and a travel account. "Thanks for telling me," I said. "I'm sorry," she replied. "I thought you deserved to know." I hung up and immediately called Todd. "You might want to sit down," I said. "Give it to me." I laid it all out. Dylan, the adjoining cabins, the tech summit back in January she swore was mandatory. He whistled. "Well, if she used marital funds to chase a job offer through an affair, that's leverage. Doesn't kill her whole claim, but it dents it. Especially if we get proof." "I'll work on it," I said. "Keep everything she sends you. Screenshots, credit card charges, anything linked to that trip." I hung up and just sat there for a minute, staring at nothing. It wasn't rage I felt. Not even shock. Just this deep, gnawing hollowness. I thought back to January. How she came home from that summit glowing. Said it went better than expected. How she started dressing sharper, buying more expensive makeup. I figured she was trying to feel good again. I didn't think it had a name. Dylan. I said it out loud, just once. It tasted like rust. While I was organizing home care instructions and checking my health insurance, she was off building a brand new life with a guy she met over catered lunches and free tote bags. Not once did she say, "We need to talk." Not once did she admit she was halfway out the door. She just took the trip, smiled like everything was fine, and left me to choke on the dust. But now I saw it for what it was. Not just selfishness. Strategy. She'd been planning the whole damn exit while I was still trying to fix things. And that hit harder than the divorce papers ever would. The morning of the surgery, I drove myself to the hospital, left-handed steering all the way, radio off. I wasn't nervous, just ready to get it over with. The shoulder had been grinding for years. Fixing it felt like clearing out dead weight. Todd met me there, paper coffee in hand, waiting near the sliding doors. "You sure you're good?" he asked. "Yeah, let's do it." They wheeled me in around 9. I don't remember much after the 4 went in. Just cold air, fluorescent lights, and someone saying, "Take a deep breath." When I came to, the pain was already climbing. My arm was strapped tight to my side, wrapped in gauze and plastic, like it didn't belong to me anymore. Wendy was there, reading a magazine at the foot of the bed. "You look like hell," she said, smirking. I gave her a weak thumbs up. She drove me home that afternoon and stayed the first night. She cooked grilled cheese and emptied the dishwasher without asking. Never said a word about Mel not being there. Because that silence said everything. No text, no call, not even a hope it went okay. The woman I'd spent 15 years with couldn't be bothered to check if I came out of anesthesia. Todd dropped by the next day with Tylenol and a bottle of Gatorade. He helped me get into the sling, showed me how to tie it tighter one-handed. "You're lucky," he said. "Most guys I deal with go through this alone." "I kind of am," I said. "But it doesn't feel like it." He nodded and patted my good shoulder. Over the next week, the guys from the shop started showing up. Steve brought pulled pork sandwiches. Benny dropped off some frozen lasagnas. They didn't stay long. Just enough to check in, shoot the breeze for 10 minutes. "Let us know when you're back on the wrench," Benny said. "Place runs quieter without you yelling, but we don't like it." I smiled through the haze. By day 4, I could get myself dressed. Took longer than it should have, but I didn't need help. I moved back into the guest room, kept everything within arm's reach. I wasn't going to rely on anybody who didn't show up when it counted. Mel stayed silent. Ray came by with sketches for the cabin plans. We sat at the dining table with his clipboard between us, measuring square footage and talking plumbing lines. "You really doing this full time?" he asked. "Eventually. I want it livable by fall." "You're serious?" "I've never been more." He nodded. "Then we'll make it solid." The pain was sharp, constant. Every movement felt like tearing Velcro under my skin. But it was clean pain, pain with a purpose. The emotional crap? That felt lighter. Like something had finally been cut out that didn't belong anymore. I wasn't chasing her attention. I wasn't explaining myself, defending every move, waiting for her to come back around. I was healing, and this time, I knew exactly who I could count on. A couple weeks after the stitches came out, Todd forwarded me an email from Mel's lawyer. She was asking for mediation. Todd called me right after. "Looks like someone needs this wrapped up fast." "What changed?" She didn't say, but I'd bet on her job offer. Some companies don't like chaos on the record. Figures. No emotion, no regret, just paperwork and reputation management. The mediation was set for the following Tuesday. Neutral office in a strip mall off Route 33. Beige walls, cold water bottles, folders stacked neatly at every seat. Mel walked in wearing a tailored blazer and heels. Hair flat ironed, fresh manicure, the whole nine. She nodded at me like we were business partners. No smile. No, "How's the shoulder?" She sat on her side of the table like it was a panel interview. The mediator, a calm, gray-haired guy with a soothing voice, opened the session with a rundown of terms. I let Todd do most of the talking, but I stayed sharp. Mel kept her tone clipped, professional. Corrected one line in the retirement split. Asked for a minor change in vehicle allocation, but otherwise, she agreed to everything I'd originally offered. The same offer she'd screamed over. The same numbers she said she'd take me for. By the end, we were signing. 2 pens, 2 copies. The mediator gave us both a polite nod, then stepped out to grab the file boxes. Mel looked over at me. "Can we talk a second?" Todd raised an eyebrow. I nodded. He stepped out with the mediator. Mel leaned back in her chair, arms folded tight. Her voice dropped. I wanted to say." She looked off toward the window. "I might have made a mistake." I didn't move. "With what? The marriage or the cruise?" She flinched at that, then said, "Dylan and I aren't." He ended things. Said it was complicated. Of course he did. She looked down at her lap. I thought I was doing what I needed to do. I thought it was going somewhere. I stayed quiet. Let her keep talking if she needed to. I don't know. Maybe I got caught up in the idea of something else. Something easier. "It was never supposed to be easy," I said. "It was supposed to be honest." She glanced up. Eyes red, but dry. "I didn't expect you to move on so fast." I didn't move on. I woke up. That hit. I saw it in the way her shoulders dropped. I just wanted to say, "I'm sorry. For what it's worth." I nodded. Thanks. I wish you well, Mel. But I'm not looking back. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say more. But then she just nodded, stood up, grabbed her bag, and walked out. Didn't even shut the door behind her. I sat there a minute, listening to the hallway echo as her heels faded out. Todd stepped back in. Everything good? Yeah, I said. Everything's just fine. About a week after mediation, I was locking up the shop for the night when I saw her car pull in. Silver Honda, driver's side dent still unfixed. I stood by the door, keys in hand, hoping she was just lost in thought and would keep driving. She didn't. She parked crooked in front of the bays, got out, slammed the door, and marched across the gravel like she owned the damn place. Gary, I didn't move. What are you doing here? You ruined my life. There it was. The opening line of a meltdown. I did what I had to do. No, she snapped. You calculated everything. You knew about Dylan, didn't you? You sabotaged it. I stared at her, arms crossed. You're blaming me for your boyfriend walking out. You told people things. You made me look unstable. You poisoned it before it could even start. I let out a slow breath. I didn't do anything but walk away, Mel. You're a liar. You always were. I turned toward the shop door, but she kept coming. Don't you dare walk away from me right now. I didn't sabotage anything. If Dylan backed out, that's on him, not me. Her voice pitched up, shrill. No woman is ever going to stay with you. You're boring. Predictable. You think your little cabin project makes you interesting? It makes you sad. I shook my head. You done? She got right up in my face. You'll die alone in that woodshed with your workshop and your frozen casseroles, and nobody will give a damn. I took a step back. Not angry. Just done. I'm not the one chasing people who don't want me. She flinched like I'd slapped her. Go home, Mel. You think people believe you? You think they see you as some kind of victim? No, I said calmly. I think they see the truth. Eventually, everyone does. She opened her mouth again, but whatever comeback she had didn't land. Just air and frustration. I turned, unlocked the door, and walked back inside. Didn't slam it. Didn't look over my shoulder. She stood out there another minute or two. I could hear her pacing on the gravel. Then the car door slammed again. Engine roared, and she peeled out of the lot like a teenager. Later that night, Benny texted me. Mel showed up at Donna's diner talking crazy. Said you bugged her phone. Nobody believed her. Steve chimed in next. She's making the rounds. Told Rachel you were hiding money offshore. Rachel laughed in her face. I put the phone down, leaned back in the recliner, and looked at the ceiling. I wasn't mad. Honestly, I felt bad for her. The desperation, the stories, the spiraling. But I wasn't going to chase her down to explain anything. That chapter was done. She could rant all she wanted. Let the stories fly. I knew who I was. The people who mattered did too. And that was enough. 2 months later, I was standing on the porch of the rebuilt cabin with a cold beer in my hand, grill smoke drifting through the trees, and Ray yelling about overcooked brats. The place was finally done. Big wraparound porch, cedar siding, metal roof. Clean inside. Open kitchen, stone fireplace, fresh hardwood floors. No clutter. No drama. No traces of Mel anywhere. Just mine. The workshop sat 20 yards out back, metal building with double doors, full power, and my tools lined up on the wall like they'd always belonged there. Todd showed up with potato salad and a folding chair. This is nicer than I expected, he said, cracking open a beer. That's supposed to be a compliment. Ray laughed from the grill. He means it. We all thought you'd hole up in some survival shack. This is a damn retreat. Benny and Steve from the shop pulled in around 6 with a cooler and a Bluetooth speaker. We ate on paper plates, told dumb stories, and watched the fire burn low into the evening. No speeches, no heavy talks, just good people, good food, and quiet air. Later, after everyone cleared out and I was stacking chairs under the porch light, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Just a text. Hey Gary, it's Julia. Worked with you on that garage remodel last year. Heard about the cabin. Mind if I swing by sometime? Might have ideas for the interiors. I stared at it a second, then smiled. Not because I thought it meant anything big, just because it felt open, like maybe things weren't closing anymore. I typed back. Sure. Let me know when. Then I put the phone down, grabbed one last beer from the cooler, and walked to the edge of the porch. The woods were dark, peaceful, no voices echoing from the past. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like I owed anyone anything. Not an apology. Not an explanation. Not one more damn compromise. Some things fall apart. That's life. But sometimes you get the chance to rebuild, stronger, quieter, better. And this time, I was building for me.